So we're working on an autism registry. That's what we're doing. The National Institute of Health is working on getting private medical records to RFK Jr.'s new autism study. Allegedly, they're gonna figure out the reason we're autistic by September. So I'm reading this off my computer because I'm in my office, but it says medication records from pharmacy chains, lab testing, and genomic, I'm so sorry if I said that wrong, data from patients treated by the Department of Veteran Affairs and Indian Health Services, claims from private insurers, and data from smartwatches and fitness trackers will all be linked together. The NIH is also now in talks with the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services to broaden agreements governing access to their data. Another piece of this says, in addition, a new disease registry is being launched to track Americans with autism, which will be integrated into the data. Advocacy groups and experts have called out Kennedy for describing autism as a preventable disease, which they say is stigmatizing and unfounded. And yeah, absolutely, because we're just continuing fucking eugenics right now. Between 10 and 20, outside groups of researchers will be given grant funding and access to the records to produce Kennedy's autism studies. They haven't given details on how they'd be chosen, but their selection would be run through normal NIH processes. I mean, we already know this is eugenics, this is eradication, this is continuation of dehumanizing anybody with disabilities, but you can definitely tell they don't give a shit because they said, I recognize, of course, that autism, there's a range of manifestations ranging from highly functioning children, we don't use those terms, to children that are quite severely disabled. And of course, the research will account very carefully for that. And you know what this sounds like? This sounds like back in the day during Hitler's regime reign, where Hans Asperger went through and figured out, quote unquote, that there were some autistic people that he thought were quote unquote high functioning, and so they had Asperger's. That's what they had. But all of the other autistic kids were severely disabled. And you know what they did with those kids? They got rid of them permanently. The fact that they said the research will account very carefully for that is concerning, because we've already been told about fucking work camps. And that's where the quote unquote high functioning autistic people went back then. They're mentioning possible, confidentiality, but let's be real, there isn't. They have a rapid timeline to launch the autism research using this data, and they're saying that they should have the answers to the causes by September. This is fucking insane. I frequently think about this text message exchange back from November when I decided we're just gonna cut everybody off that didn't give a fuck, because you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? And every once in a while, I think, I think I want to send them a bunch of articles about how we're just fucking hurting people. But I know they're not gonna give a shit, and that fucking sucks.